If I would have had Anarchy AUDIOWORX when I was still in nappies, I'd be a gazillionaire by now.
Control your hand, not average. Spread butter on a boy like a sandwich. LB on a musical rampage. Been a response for collateral damage. Send no response on the weekend producer.
Greetings one and all, this is Lloyd Brown and welcome social media family to Lloyd Brown Music. And on today's episode of Weekend Producer, I'm going to touch on a subject that's not only close to my heart, is dear to my heart, absolutely, in the process of music production. What is that, you may ask? Well, it is simply songwriting. Now, I've made a couple of videos about songwriting before, but I don't mind making another series of videos in relation to songwriting, because I think it's such an integral part of the music making progress. I think a lot of emphasis has been put upon beats and making beats, but then if you're just basically singing a lyric on a pre-made beat that someone has given you, you still need to kind of embrace what the beat is trying to project. And in one way, it's good. In another way, it's not, because half the work is kind of being done and you have to more or less align yourself to what the rhythm or the composition is basically saying. But from a compositional standpoint, I think is hugely rewarding, because you can write from your own headspace. You can create chord progressions alongside your mood and your expression that hopefully will connect with the listener. And I think the latter of the two is absolutely rewarding for anyone who wants to get into songwriting per se. Now, the reason why I'm going to talk about songwriting, because in the Q&A that I've invited my subscribers and passers-by to this channel to, I only received one question. And to me, that's good, because one inquiring mind is better than no inquiring mind. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go over to a soldier D. Yates, who basically asked any good songwriting techniques and structuring. And do for your one thing, brethren. In this game for a long time and you're still there. Respect and forward. So I think that's props for what I'm doing. But anyway, to the question at hand. So songwriting and me. How do I view songwriting from a songwriter's perspective, I guess? Now, songwriting can be a very universal thing. It can be a very personal thing. It can be a personal thing because it depends on how much of yourself you want to put out there in expressing yourself. And it can be a universal thing by way of putting yourself and all of yourself out there in a musical fashion. It becomes universal when you realize that it's not just you that has gone through the same situations that you have now chronicled in your music and in the form of your music. And when people embrace that and empathize with that, soothed by that, enlightened, encouraged, uplifted by that, then for me, it's a job done, you know, because that's what songwriting for me is all about. Where structure is concerned, there's one rule in songwriting, and the rule is there's no rules. Being many artists who have written songs in such a unorthodox manner where the lyrics just doesn't make any sense. I mean, for one, you got Procol Harum. We skipped the light fandango, turned cartwheels on the floor. I was feeling kind of seasick. The crowd called out for more. Huh? But in the bass of the song, rhythmically and musically, it makes sense. And that's one method of songwriting. There's another example which is more closer to home. One of my colleagues, Ras John McLean, who had a massive hit tune with If I Give My Heart to You. And it's one of the very few songs that I've heard written where none of the verses are repeated at all. And it's quite a long song. The only thing that's repeated is, if I give my heart to you, what would you do with it? That's the only part of the song that's repeated. Other than that, everything, all the lyrics is one away, but it pertains to the same subject matter. With me, I'm going to explain how I write. I wouldn't say a majority of the time, but I kind of write this way to get more lyrics out of a condensed situation. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and we are in the laboratory. I'm going to give you more or less a practical viewpoint as to how I write my songs, or one of the aspects as to how I write my songs, because I don't write my songs in the same way every time. But this is a mirror technique that I use for quite a few of my songs. Okay, so I'm going to play you a section of my song Love You Down, which was recorded in 1992. And I will not apologize for the sound quality because, hey, it's nearly 30 years old. What can I tell you? So here we go.
Ooh, darling. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm in my corner and I'm watching you, watching me. I see it in your eyes, I know my eyes ain't deceiving me.
So that for me was a good place to start. So let me just go into the notepad, put in the lyric. Okay, so I'm in my corner and I'm watching you, watching me. That was really the only line that I had. So I must state at this point that this song wasn't composed together, as it were. It was literally just a rhythm being built and the need for me to sing a song to it. So I needed to write a song to it as opposed to myself and the musicians getting together and actually writing a song together, okay? Which is, you know, is pretty common in the reggae fraternity. Here was the first line I basically had. I'm in my corner and I'm watching you, watching me. Everything kind of flowed after that with this part of the song here.
Can't you see the way I feel for you, baby? That is the question I ask myself. Is it really? Yes, I know you can't be faking. I want the truth from your heart, my lady. Please tell me.
Right, so at this point, I didn't even have a chorus to write. I literally had the verse, but I did not have the chorus. Yeah, it was between myself and Conway Kesler, aka Red Eye, from the Instigators band. We kind of came up with the chorus, which is now known as Love You Down, which goes like this.
Cause you know I'm feeling, I feel the need to be by your side. Cause you know I'm feeling that I want you, yeah.
Okay, so at this point, we've got more or less the sketch for the verse and the chorus. But how do I follow on from the first verse and the chorus to the second verse? Now, this is where the mirroring basically comes in, okay? So going back to the notepad and showing what the notepad reads, I'm in my corner and I'm watching you, watching me. So the logical thing for me to do was to write from a different perspective. It would be, now you're in your corner and you're watching me, watching you. And for me, it was very important to bring another perspective, just so that it doesn't seem like it's from one person's viewpoint, even though it's one person that's kind of singing about a different viewpoint. And he's kind of thinking, well, hey, I see you watching me. Are you watching me because you check for me? Or have I got a big pimple on my nose or something? Do you know what I mean? So it's just kind of giving that sense of perspective as to why are your eyes trained on me as much as my eyes are trained on you? So here it is in context again.
That I want you, yeah. Now you're in your corner and you're watching me, watching me. Well, it's no surprise to see the focus coming into view.
Okay, and another thing I wanted to feature and highlight about this particular song and the way how it's lyrically written is all about viewpoints. You know, it's all about viewpoints. It's about our eyes, the action of our eyes. For example, let's go back into, I think it's the second part of the first verse.
I see it in your eyes, I know my eyes ain't deceiving me.
I see it in your eyes, I know my eyes are not deceiving me. Okay? So I'm not imagining it. I can see that you're looking at me. I'm not being vain, but you know what I'm saying, right? So going into the second verse.
Well, it's no surprise to see the focus coming into view.
See, so it's all about viewpoints. It's all about perspective. It's all about what we're seeing and what we're feeling from what we're seeing. Okay, so to follow on from that.
Come a little closer, take my hand, don't you worry. You'll be safe in my arms as we'll dance the night.
Okay, so in this situation, we're basically, you know, we're talking about a situation where we are in a dance. Okay, we're in a dance and I'm politely asking her to take my hand, don't you worry. You'll be safe as in my arms as we'll dance the night away. Okay, so it's a way of me basically asking the lady for a dance. Be comfortable with me, as it were. All right, so moving on.
Stay by my side and don't just say, well, maybe. I want the truth from your heart, my lady.
And that's in a way saying, listen, please don't say maybe, don't say no, because you're going to embarrass me inside the place here tonight if I ask you for a dance and you refuse, right? No, but it's just a polite way of saying that. But yeah, it's just a warm and friendly invitation, all right?
Please tell me, 'cause you know I'm feeling.
Okay, so love you down, the phrase love you down was more or less more general than basically asking a woman for me to rub her down, you know, because who would go in a dance and say to a woman, hey woman, I want to rub you down, you know? That's not really gonna drop. So love you down is more or less pertaining to dancing to a nice lovers rock tune, you know, and just getting in the vibe, getting in the groove. So that's pretty much the verses and the choruses. Obviously there needs to be a break, and a simple break for that could have been, it could have been an instrument playing a solo, but I just done some oohs at that point in time. So here's the break. So at this point, from that point going out, it had to lift, not too much, but just enough to take the song in another mood. And the only way that I could do that was to simply just raise my pitch and sing in a more falsetto style. Because remember, I'm singing on a 2-chord, 1-drop tune. So you have to find ways of just lifting the last third of the song to a heights where if you listen from beginning to end, you can see and feel a sense of the song building. as the song progresses. And that's more or less the structure that I followed.
Hey, baby, baby, I want you for my lover. I want you to be my life. I know for sure you'll be mine forever. And no other.
And that's pretty much the base of the song. So you got the beginning where I'm singing from one perspective. You got the second verse where I'm singing about another perspective. Then you got the break in the song just to kind of, relax the vibe a little bit. And then the final part of the song is where you take it up a notch lyrically and melodically, because you don't want it to sound the same as the first two verses, or it would just naturally sound too repetitive. Even though the lyrics are different, it would just have that sense of familiarity. And you know what familiarity does, right? Right. So what I want to do, I want to actually feature a plugin which I absolutely love. I love this plugin no end. I highly, highly recommend it because now it's on sale. I will put the link in the description box below. But this plugin is an indispensable tool for any songwriter. Speed up the songwriting process where you don't have any access to musicians per se. This is the plugin to do it, and it is none other than Easy Keys. Toontrack's Easy Keys. I have made, I think, around 4 videos on this plugin alone. All right, it was the first plugin that I actually bought after my first iteration of my studio, which was basically, it was Cubase SX and Hypersonic. I made countless albums just using those 2 pieces of software. But Easy Keys was more or less the first third-party plugin that I actually bought. And it's a great plugin. And I'm going to explain why it's a great plugin right now. Okay, so in this Easy Keys, I think I have 3 keyboards here. So I have the Melotune, and also I have the upright piano. So I really needed 3 keyboards that just sounded different to each other. And upright, Melotune, and Dream Machine was basically the ones. And I absolutely love Dream Machine because it's just so dreamy and lush. When you listen to that, absolutely beautiful. And not only that, you got different presets, all of these presets right here that you can choose from, and you can tweak the controls of each preset. So it's not just this preset that has these 5 particular controls. If you go into another preset, let's go into Bellroom, see, it changes the type of controls that's within that preset as well. So no 2 are really the same. So there's a lot of customization to be had with this particular keyboard. Let's just go into another one just to mix it up a little bit. All right, so you got and if you recognize that sound is synonymous with the Beatles' Strawberry Fields Forever. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Field. No, I don't want to get a copyright strike. Anyway, moving on. Right, so as you can see, there's different presets here. Okay, let's go into Mix Brass. So yeah, so within each instrument, there's different presets, and you can create your own as well. All right. Okay, so let's go into the presets of that. So there's loads, and you can create your own presets and name them, and it will come up in this section, user presets. But that's just not all that Easy Keys has to offer. Right, so we have the chord generator you could use here. All right. And when you click on each of these chords, it will bring up a wheel. Okay. And the wheel basically gives you the option to generate the chords you want to play. Not just major chords, not just minor chords, but many different colorations of the chord as well. Major sevenths, ninth, diminished sevenths, all that kind of stuff. So you can put so much color into your compositions. And did I tell you that it was a standalone as well? So you can literally just have this on your desktop, on your laptop, and work it that way as well as working it in your DAW. All right. So it is a standalone, which is the beauty of this thing as well. Okay. So moving on from that. So here we have the C chord, which is probably the most common chord of the whole keyboard. All right. So I don't want to use that. Let's use another chord, A minor. All right. Now, why you see this section here, this quadrant, all lit up, because it pertains to the circle of fifths. Now, for those who are not musically trained, the circle of fifths. So basically, so if you pick a chord within this section here, right? Let's say A minor. So any one of these chords, any of the 5 nearest chords to that will complement this chord. So it's not just this one or that one or that one or that one or that one. It could be so as you can see, there's a lot of coloration. There's a lot of coloration to the chords you can basically use if you use the circle of fifths, because in most pop tunes, they don't go more than outside of the circle of fifths. That's why you got so many songs, famous songs, hit songs, legendary songs that kind of follows the chord progression within the circle of fifths. But that's not something you really need to take on board. You can literally just hear certain chords and certain coloration of the chords. For example, when I press E minor, I could put a 7th on that, or a 9th, or a diminished 7th. See what I mean? So you see the coloration within the chord, just that chord within itself. So I can press this button, move on to the next chord. Yeah, G major 7th. Okay, move on. Okay, and let's see how that sounds. So that's not a bad chord progression. So straight away, within a matter of, I don't know, a minute or so, we have basically made a chord progression that sounds really, really, really nice. And I think with this tool, it will make you vocally more pliable, as it were, when you have these chords to basically play with, because I'm not a skilled pianist, and I know many pianists that are classically trained, but to get access to them, it's going to take a while. So for me, you know, I need a tool that can take the place of them. And even if I use it as a demo to send to those musicians so that they can embellish the chord structure, then even just for that alone is worth the price of admission. So let's go back to the start again. And it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. So I can merge the selected blocks and I can find styles of play within this chord sequence. If I go into use browser, it will give me a selection of add-on MIDI packs, which I do have. Let's just go into contemporary soul ballads and go straight 86 BPMs. All right, so let's just scroll down. Okay, Living Soul 85. So let's just try a verse variation. So you see he's giving you different variations of the chord sequence, a different feel altogether. You know, so it can really up your melody game. It can up your vocal game if you hear a chord sequence played in a particular way to further bring the emotion of that sequence as well. And that's something that I don't really see a lot of in other music composition plugins. I don't think anyone does it better than Easy Keys. Sorry, to be honest. And you don't have to have it basically playing exactly what you see. If you're working in the door, you can go into the door and basically change Okay, so you might hear a bum note, but hey. So I'm just giving you a quick example as to how you can edit the notes within the section that you've more or less created within Easy Keys to put more of your feel. So don't just basically have Easy Keys playing the stock phrase in your composition. You can change it. It's just giving you building blocks to really work with so you can put your own style on the thing. So that's my only piece of advice in relation to that. Coming out of that, if you don't have a DAW or you don't really wish to utilize a DAW at this point, using this as a standalone is a great way of getting your songs together. Okay, so going back into the interface, so you can actually record Okay, so let's hear that. I know it's not entirely correct, but I'm just trying to just show you as efficiently as I can the capabilities of this thing. So if you want to make an arrangement, you can make an arrangement. Properties, it can actually give you a color coding of what part of the song you want. There's a lot you can do with Easy Keys. And another thing about it as well is that if you want to export the files, I can export the soundtrack as a MIDI file, as a WAV file. So Easy Keys, I highly, highly, highly recommend you purchasing this VST plugin. It's on sale now for €60. You're not going to get it any lower than that. It is worth the purchase. Trust me on that. All right. And I'll put the link in the description below. I don't know how long it's going to be on sale, but I would get this. I've been using this for 20 years plus. So that is it in terms of composition and how I compose music in order for me to write songs too. Like I said, there's so many different ways of writing songs. It would take me hours to give you a handful of ways to basically do it. But in terms of structure, lyrics and the mirroring process is just one of the ways I write the songs. For me, it's a cost-effective way and it's a faster way. It improves my workflow to no end. So that's one of the ways. It's not the only way, but it's one of the ways. So anyway, it's with that. It's back to the studio. Anarchy AUDIOWORX are proud to present their new line of 6 VST plugins available now. Vocalator Pro, Anarchy Comp, LFO Pro, Pulsar, Beef, and Duplex, in addition to the recently released Synth Essentials all at a heavily discounted price. And as an extra incentive, further discounts have been added on top of the current discounts. By using the discount codes in the description box below, you will get a one-time only additional 20% off the sale price currently advertised. Not only that, but the huge discount bundle on offer where you can save £290 with the total Anarchy bundle, you can get all of their plugins and more for one crazy low price of £180. That's a huge saving of £290 from the original price of £470 if all plugins and samples were bought separately. That's not including the 20% discount you can get on top if you use my discount code at checkout. And there's more. If you join the Facebook AUDIOWORX family group, you can get 1 GB of free samples. The AUDIOWORX family is a community for music producers, composers, musicians, and artists from all genres to gain and share knowledge, network, and discuss all things music creation, where you can find the best deals on VST plugins, sample libraries, software, studio equipment, musical instruments, and other helpful music production resources. In addition to that, there are also regular free giveaways and early access releases exclusive to the group members for sample packs, contact libraries, DAW templates, effects, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Check out AnarchyAudioWorks.com for their brand new selection of plugins and so much more besides. Anarchy AudioWorks. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Weekend Producer, which pertains to songwriting. I hope you've learned something from this, and if you have full enjoyed the episode, please smack that like button, smack the subscribe button, click on the notification bell so you get advanced notification as to my future uploads in future episodes of this series or just my vlogs in general. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I want to thank you guys for passing through, and as always, you don't know the coup. People, please abstain from all kind of foolishness, even your own, even my own. And until we link up next time on the next exciting installment of Lloyd Brown Music, people, stay blessed. I'm out of here. Magansky. Later. Weekend Producer.